Okay, so 10.1 is going to be assets and liabilities. This unit's going to be kind of small. It just is going to have a couple of financial literacy things in it, and we may have talked about it, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. Okay, so assets are things you own. Okay, so for me, an asset is my house is an asset. My car is an asset. Anything of value, so like my wedding ring technically has a decent amount of value to it, so it's an asset. Kids are not really an asset. They're more of a liability. They're not even really designated as either, okay? But house, car, any kind of cash that you have on hand is an asset. Any kind of jewelry, any kind of something that you could sell to make money. Does that make sense? Whatever's in your checking account is an asset, okay? Liabilities are debts that you owe. So now, my house is an asset, but I do owe a debt on it because I have a mortgage. So a mortgage is a liability. A car payment is a liability. Any credit card debt that you have, that's a liability. Anything that you owe to somebody or that you borrowed is a liability, okay? So your net worth is the value of your assets minus your liabilities. So you add up all your assets and you add up all your liabilities and you hope that you have more assets than you do liabilities. That's what we hope, okay? A lot of people don't. So you have to be thoughtful of that. So a positive net worth indicates the value of your assets is greater than the value of your liabilities. So that means you have more assets than liabilities. A negative net worth indicates the value of your liabilities is greater than the value of your assets. You really don't want a negative net worth. That's not very good. Does that make sense? You want to have positive things. So I, in particular, am going through this right now because I'm selling my house, right? So my house itself is an asset. So we're going to kind of get into this, and I'm just going to talk through it. I know I'm not going to be able to switch pages, but we're going to kind of talk through it. So my house is an asset. It is on the market, and I'm going to be real honest. We're just going to be real honest about it, okay? It's on the market for $279,000, okay? So that's how much that it is valued at. That's how much I'm selling it for. Does that make sense? That's how much I have a contract on it for. Hopefully it works out, okay? Now, I owe, at the end of the day, my mortgage is like $198,000. Okay? That's how much I owe on that house. Yes? Okay? So, the difference in what they're paying for and what I owe, when I get my check, I'll have to subtract out realtor fees and other, like some closing costs and a few things like that, and then I have to pay my mortgage off. I have to pay that balance off when I sell the house. Okay? So right now, it's $81,000 for the good. Okay? Does that make sense? So when I sell my house, I make $81,000. Then I have to take and pay the realtor fees and all that business, okay, from that. But this is a positive asset for me because I owe less than it's worth. It's worth more, right? Okay, so over time, every time I bought a house and sold it, I put the equity in my house, the money, the good value in my house, and put it back into the next mortgage. Does that make sense? So trying to build my mortgage. So I've kind of built that nest egg right there when I bought and sold my houses, okay? So that's a positive. So this is my asset, okay? And this is my liability because it's what I owe. So generally when you do this, you add them all up and then you add up all your assets and you subtract your liabilities. I just told you about one in particular. Okay? So let me be real about some more. Okay? Because it's just easier to use me. Okay? I have a cool minivan, in case you didn't know. So cool. Okay? So cool. Minivans are awesome. Anyways, so I don't know what it's worth. And I honestly don't even know what I owe because I really don't usually pay the bills. But say it's worth $30,000. Okay? So whatever, I could take and look at whatever I could sell it for and say I could sell it for $25,000. that would be a negative. Does that make sense? Because I owe more than I can sell it for. I don't know that. I'm just making that up. Does that make sense? But that would be a negative, okay? So I would be $5,000 in the hole, technically, on my net worth. Yes? All right. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. So the table shows some of Hawsong's assets and liabilities. Create and organize a financial asset and liabilities record, then construct Hawsong's net worth statement. Okay, so all we're going to do, you don't have to write on your paper, we're going to do it up here. Okay, so let's decide what's an asset. So cash, is that an asset? Yes. It's a plus, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to say that's an asset. Car paid off.
Yes.
Yes. Jewelry.
Yes.
Yes. Liabilities are student loans. Okay. Credit card debt. Those are all liabilities. Okay. So they've already set them into assets and liabilities. I should have looked over here. I'm sorry. So we would add up all the assets. So I would add up all the assets. And so it would be 0, 0, 0, 14, 9, 10, 19. Okay, $4,940. And then I would add up all the liabilities, which would be 0, 0, 5, 2, 9, 2. So his assets are $4,940, his liabilities. So we would subtract the assets minus the liabilities. Okay, and we would get 2015, that would be his net worth, okay? Because that's all his assets added up minus his liabilities. Y'all see how that kind of works? Yes.
So basically, so you add the total and all of them, and then you just subtract them, and that's the net worth?
Yeah, that's their net worth. So if your liabilities are more than your assets, you have a negative net worth, and if your assets are more than your liabilities, you have a positive net worth. Okay?
Do I have a negative net worth?
Yes. Yes. You don't want to.
Why not?
Because that means you owe more than you could sell, and like you would be negative. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, technically, it's not technical, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Have you ever looked up like somebody's not like someone famous is net worth?
Okay.
Yeah. Look up her net
Oh, is it like when you look up how much a person's worth?
Yeah. Okay, so let's finish this, guys. Okay. So the table below shows Bradley's assets and liabilities. Construct Bradley's net worth statement. Okay, let's decide what's assets. Savings is an asset. Stocks is an asset. Cash is an asset. And all of these are liabilities. Actually, it's already broken down. I don't know why it asked us to do that. So we're going to add them all up. And get us a total. 6350. And then we add up all the liabilities. And I got 7902. So look what's happening here. What are we going to be? We're going to have a negative because the liabilities outweigh the assets. So it's going to be negative 1,552 and so he's going to have a negative net worth. Okay. Okay, so look at the other one, Gina's. Gina's is not separated. Okay, so credit card debt is a liability. Car loan is a liability. Cash, asset. Furniture owned, asset. Savings, asset. Stocks, an asset. Stocks and bonds are like kind of like a savings in a different way, okay? So we're going to add those up. We're going to say 3,900, 1,540, 1,000, and 970. And I got 7,410 for the assets. Then I'm going to add up the liabilities. Okay, so I'm going to add these two, and I'm going to say 216, 6620. And then we're going to say 7,410 minus 6620. Oh, I didn't need to borrow that. $396.13, and I got $790. So he has a positive net worth of $790.